What is happening, Glowliners? Get ready, because we've got a whirlwind of breaking news that's going to blow your minds. First up, we're diving into a major political move as Governor Gavin Newsom launches an initiative to recruit 10,000 male mentors, aiming to provide young men with purpose and connection, a stark contrast and potential response to the influence of figures like Charlie Kirk. Next, we're confronting the chilling reality of our digital age. With the spread of graphic videos like the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we're asking, how is this constant exposure to real-world violence shaping the minds of our children and altering our collective understanding of history? Then, we're heading to Minnesota, where a special election has just wrapped up. The outcome for the House seat vacated by the late Representative Melissa Hortman reveals a shift in voter support, happening for the first time since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, amidst national concerns about political violence. And finally, we're bringing you a thought-provoking debate on a controversial figure. Was Charlie Kirk a model for civil discourse or a divisive force? We'll explore the arguments from both sides as contributors weigh in on his legacy and impact. Stick around, you won't want to miss a second of this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Governor Newsom tackles the crisis of male connection. In a move echoing the societal void left by figures like Charlie Kirk, Governor Gavin Newsom has launched the California Men's Service Challenge, an ambitious initiative aiming to recruit 10,000 male mentors. This program seeks to provide young men, like 17-year-old Kamaldeep Danoa, with the sense of purpose, belonging, and genuine connection that is increasingly scarce in today's world. The crisis of disconnection among young men is a growing concern, highlighted by statistics showing a significant rise in those reporting no close friendships. Governor Newsom's effort directly addresses this by fostering mentorship opportunities, aiming to guide vulnerable young men away from the isolation of online spaces and towards meaningful real-world engagement. The initiative is framed not as a reaction to Charlie Kirk, but as a proactive step building on earlier awareness, such as Jennifer Siebel Newsom's documentary, The Mask You Live In, acknowledging the profound impact of loneliness and identity struggles on this demographic. Public reaction to the California Men's Service Challenge has been largely positive, with advocates emphasizing the critical need for positive male role models. Analysts note that Governor Newsom is attempting to replicate the sense of community and purpose that Charlie Kirk cultivated, but through an inclusive lens rooted in California values. The core message is clear. These young men need to be pulled back from the brink, guided by mentors who help them discover their own authenticity and build self-belief, rather than simply selling them a cause. But does this mentorship initiative truly address the root of the problem, or is it just a political response? Stay tuned as we dissect the impact, and then we'll dive into the disturbing ways violent imagery is now shaping young minds, a topic brought into sharp focus by recent tragic events. The unsettling impact of violent imagery on a digital generation. How many young minds have been irrevocably altered by the unfiltered spread of graphic violence online, like the assassination of Charlie Kirk? This question lies at the heart of a growing concern about how constant exposure to real-world brutality is shaping a generation's understanding of history and their own place within it. The author reflects on the profound difference between past generations' exposure to mediated violence and today's reality, where unedited footage of events like the Gaza conflict, George Floyd's death, and now Kirk's assassination floods social media feeds. Unlike the curated news of previous eras, today's children are inundated with a chaotic, multi-angled stream of real-time terror, blurring the lines between fiction and reality and potentially desensitizing them, or, conversely, fostering a deep-seated nihilism. Organizations like Common Sense Media are grappling with this deluge, noting that younger children may struggle to distinguish real from fabricated content, while older children experience a more potent, personal impact from witnessing actual violence. The debate rages on whether sanitizing these images protects children or risks creating an oblivious generation, detached from the harsh realities of the world. The consensus among experts is that while children will eventually confront the world's violence, the current chaotic and excessive access is overwhelming. This constant barrage of disturbing content raises critical questions about societal responsibility and the future of our children's psychological well-being. But before we explore further, we're turning our attention to the political arena, where a recent election is sending ripples through the nation following a high-profile assassination. Minnesota election shows subtle shift amidst political tensions. A special election in Minnesota has concluded, with Democrat XB Lee securing the state House seat previously held by the late Representative Melissa Hortman. While Lee's victory reaffirms Democratic representation, the election marks the first electoral test since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the results indicate a notable dip in the proportion of votes received compared to Hortman's previous win. Lee garnered 60.82% of the vote, a decrease of over 3% from the 63.08% Hortman achieved in November 2024. This election, held to fill the District 34B seat, brings the Minnesota House to a 67-67 tie, maintaining the existing power-sharing arrangement. The outcome occurred amidst heightened national awareness of political violence, a somber backdrop following the June assassination of Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark, by an assailant impersonating a police officer. Commentators and party officials have highlighted the significance of condemning political violence, with Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin stating that political violence is a scourge that has taken far too many lives. Republican opponent Ruth Bittner acknowledged that the climate of violence made her question running, but ultimately decided that there's no way to solve this problem if we shrink back in fear. The election's turnout was slightly lower than the previous contest, with 26,596 votes cast. While this election shows a slight shift in voter preference, it also underscores the persistent anxieties surrounding political discourse. Now, we pivot to a direct debate. Was Charlie Kirk himself a force for good or ill in that very discourse? Charlie Kirk, a model of civility or divisive figure, a Newsweek debate. The legacy of Charlie Kirk, the assassinated founder of Turning Point USA, is now the subject of intense debate among Newsweek contributors, questioning whether he was a champion of civil discourse or a polarizing pundit. Paul Duquesne argues that Kirk was an ideal role model for political discourse, dedicating his life to reasoned debate, rational discourse, and the polite exchange of opinion. Duquesne posits that despite facing hostility, Kirk never resorted to anger, embodying the best traditions of the Republic and inviting respectful dialogue, a stance that he believes posed a threat to illiberal forces arrayed against free expression. Conversely, Nina Turner contends that Kirk's format, like his Prove Me Wrong tour, was inherently not one of equal debate, framing his opinions as default correct. Turner highlights Kirk's controversial past statements, including support for public executions and criticism of the Civil Rights Act, labeling his principles as harmful and his operation as a content operation, not an opinions-based operation, that influenced government. She emphasizes that while Kirk didn't deserve to be killed, his views were not conducive to a just society, and points to the shared problem of American-on-American violence affecting both Kirk and Representative Melissa Hortman. Both sides acknowledge that Kirk was murdered and that political violence is a scourge, but they diverge sharply on his impact and methods. Duquesne believes Kirk's values are American values and will inspire future generations, while Turner argues that America is losing and needs healing, cautioning against using horrific moments for political gain and blaming culture and laws for enabling violence. This clash of perspectives reveals the deep divisions in how public figures are remembered and how their actions shape the national conversation. We've covered a lot of ground, from political strategy to the impact of media, and now it's time to bring it all together. And that's a wrap on today's explosive news. We saw Governor Gavin Newsom stepping up to mentor young men, grappling with the digital age's impact on kids exposed to real violence, a Minnesota election showing subtle shifts post-assassination, and a fiery debate over Charlie Kirk's legacy. Don't miss out on any of our future breakdowns. Hit that like button, subscribe to Glowline for more, and ring that notification bell. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and follow us on all social platforms to stay connected. See you next time.